Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me, 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 16th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunny, hot, and humid today. The high going to be 89. It's going to feel a whole lot warmer, though, with that humidity. Tonight and overnight, scattered thunderstorms, low 77. And then Thursday, if today's not hot enough, it'll be a whole lot warmer. Morning clouds, afternoon sun, the high tomorrow 95. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 76 and clear in Yonkers up in Westchester County, 77 and clear in Passaic over in New Jersey, and it's 77 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
The top 5 at 5.
A new poll shows the mayor's race is really up for grabs. The flood cleanup gets underway. A slap on the hand for a Long Island pervert. There was a deadly teen stabbing in a Bronx bodega. And an 86-year-old woman keeps jumping out of planes. I should note she has a parachute on. Let's start at 5:01. That massive cleanup underway in New Jersey following all that rain Monday night that caused widespread flash flooding. Governor Murphy surveying the damage yesterday in the Union County community of Berkeley Heights.
We're seeing more of this, and the intensity is so more frequent and more intensity. 6 inches of rain in under 2.5 hours.
Yeah, the tragedy in North Plainfield, 2 women died after their vehicle was swept away into a brook. People had to be rescued from their homes there as well. Many roads, thick black mud on them. Still today, they're trying to wash it down. First responders talking about the fact that they conducted large numbers of vehicle rescues in Union and Somerset counties.
This was a huge lake.
And I've never seen anything like this. It was nuts. I mean, you couldn't walk anywhere. It was just full of water everywhere. It looked like a river.
Yeah, Governor Murphy saying it was shocking to see some of the damage.
One wave sort of knocked a lot of these communities a little bit off kilter. The second one came in for the kill. And so we're assessing around all these communities.
In North Plainfield, where they were hit so hard on Monday night, the mayor says things have to change.
We're dealing with basements that were flooded up to the ceiling. We're dealing with people who have lost everything in their basements. We're dealing with an infrastructure that we have to address.
And here in the city, they're saying, hey, this is the kind of new reality, these weather patterns, these heavy rains in short periods of time. The Department of Environmental Protection Commissioner Rohit Aragwala says the city's sewer system was not meant to handle a storm so intense, and a lot of work needs to be done to increase its capacity.
We're not talking about repairing a broken system. We're talking about expanding a system.
Yeah, so he says the sewers were designed to handle up 1.7 inches of rain per hour, but we got about 2 inches on Monday night. He says it'll take decades, billions of dollars to expand the city's sewer system. He says they can do some short-term stuff in the meantime.
Frankly, in most cases, if there's a quick fix, we've already done it, but we're going to keep looking for more. And then we have to think about how to do things differently over the long term. The reality is that the subways are underground. They are where water will flow, and so we do work very closely with the MTA to protect that underground infrastructure, but it is a long-term effort.
Yeah, we'll point out that the subways dried out pretty nicely in time for the morning commute yesterday. 5:03, while we're talking about the flooding, we got to go down to flood-ravaged Texas. Governor Greg Abbott declaring a state of emergency in 21 Texas counties as some areas face the threat of new flooding. This is on top of everything that took place there July 4th weekend. correspondent Ryan Chandler reports from hard-hit Kerrville that search and rescue operations along the Guadalupe River are shifting to recovery phase now.
It is a difficult time in Kerr County, and it will be for months or years to come. But still, we are seeing a little bit of a return to normalcy. We know of at least one camp along the Guadalupe River that is reopening as of yesterday. We spoke to them. They say it is important for them to get back to a sense of normalcy.
Death toll stands 131 now, 160 still missing. The Kerr County Joint Information Center said that up to 7 more inches of rain has fallen there. Another 2 inches were in the forecast yesterday. Of course, that's hampering that search effort.
Most of those are here in Kerr County, but we now know 9 people have died in Travis County, where Austin is. 3 additional people there are missing. Burnett County in Central Texas, 4 people dead, 1 person missing. It speaks to the urgent need to get search and rescue teams on the ground to try and find anybody who may still be alive. But the priority here in Kerr County is to find and recover bodies for hundreds of families who still do not know where their loved ones are.
And I've said this before, the generosity of Americans just overwhelming. It's not like that, by the way, anywhere in the world. We are the most generous people in the world. So this tiny Texas town of Kerrville, they're saying stop sending the donations. It's just overwhelming. They can't handle it all. It's a small little town.
No more donations. We're at capacity.
Yeah, they say they are out of room. They love the fact that there's so many good Samaritans trying to help. They're pointing people who want to donate to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. Money, they say, is the best way to help.
We appreciate all of the donations, but we literally just don't have the space, the time, and people to manage it. At some point, if it's still an offer and we still need it, we'll be happy to take it. But we just can't take any more.
Yeah, so they're saying just stop right now. And if we're talking about weather-related things happening around the country, we got to talk about the north rim of the Grand Canyon National Park. That's going to be closed for the rest of the 2025 season as firefighters continue to battle this destructive, Dragon Bravo fire, as it's been named.
Right now, we're in a very aggressive firefight. I want people to know that. We're in full suppression mode. We're throwing everything we got at it.
Southwest Incident Management Team spokesman Stefan Lesky there says about 300 firefighters battling this blaze. It was sparked by lightning back on July 4th. The fires consumed more than 8,000 acres. It's also destroyed the historic Grand Canyon Lodge.
The lodge located at the end of the road. The first breathtaking views of the canyon from the lodge itself. Destroyed by fire in 1932, the lodge was rebuilt with original stonework in 1936, where it stood as a National Historic Landmark until last Saturday.
That's correspondent Steve Patterson. So lots of controversy around this fire, that they waited maybe too long to battle it, that they thought it might go out on its own. Grand Canyon National Park Public Information Officer Joelle Bard says things have been tough for those who live and work in the North Rim.
It has been a trying week for everyone. We had approximately 50 employees who were evacuated from the North Rim this last weekend. The loss is devastating. We lost a lot of our employee housing for the National Park Service.
And Arizona senators yesterday writing to the Interior Secretary Doug Burgum asking why federal officials initially used a confine and contain strategy rather than immediately working to extinguish this blaze that has gotten bigger and a little bit more out of control. WABC News Time 5:09. Some sort of feud led to a teenage girl being stabbed to death in the Bronx on Tuesday.
Police got a call of shots fired at 3511 Boston Road. That's a small shopping center in the Williamsbridge section just before 4 p.m. Tuesday. When they got there, they found 16-year-old Aliyah Williams dead with stab wounds throughout her head and body. Police say she got into an argument that led to her murder. They've got the description of a suspect, a female wearing all black with white sneakers and a red or pink headband or do-rag. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Subway surfing still seems to be a problem in the city. Drones in the sky catching teenagers subway surfing again.
The NYPD says police officers have made at least 200 arrests regarding subway surfing so far this year. It comes after the latest incident, with AM New York reporting 4 teens were apprehended for subway surfing a northbound 6 train in the Bronx last week.
It's not safe at all, and hopefully these kids learn a little better there. Hopefully the parents can help out too.
Officials say the NYPD transit drone team spotted the teens with information that allowed them to stop the train at the Parkchester station and bring two 12-year-old boys, a 15-year-old boy and 16-year-old boy, into custody. They were charged with reckless endangerment. Lisa G., 77 WABC News.
WABC News Time 5:10. Let's go down to Washington. Attorney General Pam Bondi brushing off questions about Jeffrey Epstein.
Nothing about Epstein. I'm not going to talk about Epstein.
Bondi was holding a news conference yesterday on some other topic. She's been on the defensive since the Justice Department announced it would not release any more information about the case.
This today is about fentanyl. This is about a wall of people right outside this room who have died from. I appreciate your question, but this today is about fentanyl.
Meanwhile, House Republicans blocking efforts from Democrats to force a vote on releasing files connected with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's case.
The Epstein files have been a source of controversy in Washington, with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle calling for the release of case documents. House Democrats unsuccessfully urged the chamber to oppose a routine procedural vote on an amendment requiring Attorney General Pam Bondi to preserve, compile, and publish the Epstein files. I'm Brian Shook.
From Congress over to the president. President Trump says more letters going out to countries announcing that tariffs are going into effect soon unless trade deals are stuck. The president telling reporters that he'll probably have a flat 10% tariff for all nations. He made these comments as he left for an event in Pittsburgh yesterday.
Don't forget, we'll be releasing a letter soon talking about many countries that are much smaller.
He didn't specify which countries. Also on Tuesday, the president announcing that he had made a new trade deal with Indonesia.
We'll probably set one tariff for all of them.
And as the president was jetting off for Pittsburgh for a conference we'll tell you about in just a moment, some university leaders were being grilled by Congress again about the growing issue of anti-Semitism on campuses. Pro-Palestinian protesters, they interrupted this House hearing several times yesterday.
How can you say those statements that you support your Jewish friends? Shut up and get out of here.
Gentlemen will suspend.
Get out of here, you loser. Come on.
Florida Republican Randy Fine, who's Jewish, went on to scold university presidents, claiming it's their actions that have led to protesters think it's okay. The heads of Georgetown, the City University of New York, and University of California being questioned yesterday.
This is frustrating. People say, well, just drive down the middle of the road. This is a very complex road to drive down.
UC Berkeley Chancellor Rich Lyons was grilled about the social media postings of several professors who expressed support for terror attacks on Israel.
We use academic standards to hire faculty. We don't use ideological conditions.
They say they're dealing with an issue of freedom of speech on those campuses. 5:13, out to California, where a feud between California Governor Gavin Newsom and President Trump comes just as California is seeking $40 billion in federal aid to rebuild Los Angeles after this year's wildfires. House Speaker Mike Johnson asked about the status of that disaster aid.
Gavin Newsom seems to enjoy trying to stick his thumb in the eye of the White House and the Congress, which seems to be counter-purpose if he is requesting relief.
The House Speaker says he's waiting for California's aid request to be sent to the White House, which in return will notify Congress until there's a dollar amount. He says he can't act.
We're going to do the right thing at the end of the day. We'll take care of the American people. We'll take care of our federal responsibilities. But we've not seen the calculation nor the formal request yet.
5:14, down to Florida. Florida State Democrats pushing for unfettered access to alligator Alcatraz. During a recent visit, they called living conditions in the ICE facility for illegal immigrants inhumane. But Florida's Attorney General says some have acted unethically, people who took these tours.
These Democrats were taking thermometers and putting them up to warm lights to try to get a false temperature read, to dishonestly portray that it was hot while it's an air-conditioned facility.
The Florida Democratic Party has filed a public records request for Alligator Alcatraz, which has gotten its name because it's surrounded by swampland that includes alligators and pythons.
Some of them wanted to climb into the holding spaces and be with the detainees. That's not allowed at any facility. That's just weird. Hundreds of the people in this facility are wanted for some very serious and gruesome offenses.
Democrats still claim that there's inhumane treatment inside that ICE facility. All right, in a moment, we'll tell you about this hearing on retail theft and how it's big business all across the country. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. We'll start here. Out in Atlanta, the 2025 MLB All-Star Game didn't lack any excitement if you tuned in. The National League roughed up the American League from the jump. Pete Alonso launched a towering shot in the sixth to spark a 4-run inning. Then Corbin Carroll followed with a massive solo blast, putting the NL up 6-0 by mid-game. But the AL wasn't out of the fight just yet. In the seventh, Brent Rooker crushed a 3-run homer, igniting a rally that saw Bobby Witt Jr. drive in another run, and Byron Buxton later key a multi-run top of the ninth. Stephen Kwan laced an infield single that played at the tying run, making it 6-6, the largest comeback in All-Star Game history. Because the game remained tied, MLB debuted the first ever All-Star swing-off. Did you see this, Noam Layden?
I missed that.
Yeah, that was too late for you, huh?
It was. What time was that?
It was way too late for me, too. I totally missed it, too. In fact, I didn't even know they were doing this, like that this was a thing this year. If it did end up tied, that they would try this swing-off thing. So I see all the notifications this morning. The NL wins it in a swing-off. Schwarber's 3 for 3 with 3 home runs. So anyway...
Wait, what does that exactly mean, a swing-off?
I'm about to explain.
Oh, okay.
Each side selected 3 sluggers with 3 swings apiece. So the NL had Stowers, he had 1 home run. Schwarber had 3 home runs. And Alonso, he sat because Schwarber, I guess, walked it off there. But the AL hit Rooker, who had 2 home runs. Rosarano had 1 home run. And Aranda had no home runs. But Schwarber's perfect 3 for 3 vaulted the NL over the top. So they win the game 7-6. You know, it's kind of like a shootout in hockey.
So, like, at the end of the 9th inning, they did this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Instead of extra innings.
Huh.
Interesting, right?
Because 9 innings of an All-Star game is enough. So
I guess so, to be honest. You know, if I'm a fan of the game and I didn't know that this was going on, and all of a sudden I see them start to trot out here to do this home run derby type stuff here to call the game, I'm kind of excited about it, no?
Yeah, no, it makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works out moving forward. Schwarber took home MVP honors thanks to his performance in the swing office. Also of note, a brief ABS system, automated ball strike system, was implemented for the game, allowing pitchers, catchers, and hitters to make real-time call challenges on the strike zone. I saw a couple of them last night. A couple went in the favor of the NL there. And in the NFL, another major contract extension for the New York Jets. 24 hours after reaching a long-term contract extension with wide receiver Garrett Wilson, the Jets rewarded star cornerback Sauce Gardner with a record-setting contract, 4-year, $120.4 million extension. The contract includes $85.653 million guaranteed. The 2-time All-Pro becomes the NFL's highest-paid cornerback based on average salary per year. It's $30.1 million. That is your Sports Dome, and I'm Justin Hawk, 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 520. Everybody trying to figure out how to stop shoplifting. And remember, it used to be just like a pack of gum here, some clothes there, but now organized retail theft is huge business all across the country. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley weighing in on this yesterday.
In Iowa alone, this type of crime has cost billions of dollars, causing financial harm to businesses and putting employees and consumers at risk. We're not talking about stealing candy. We're talking about big money retail crime.
Senate holding a hearing yesterday on the rising number of organized retail thefts across the country. One of the eyewitnesses or people who spoke yesterday, San Diego County District Attorney Summer Stefan.
A crew of organized criminals attacked the Ulta stores and stole $700,000 worth. We were angry in San Diego to see the fear in our community.
Retailers experienced a 26% increase in average shoplifting incidents from 2022 to 2023, and a 42% reported increase in shoplifting events that involve the threats or acts of violence.
Our Organized Theft Task Force does these investigations, hundreds of search warrants. It's not uncommon to find the retail theft goods along with guns and drugs. The retailers tell us that their trackers are sounding off in the middle of the seas, heading to different countries, but the investigations stop at the local level.
Yeah, National Retail Federation says organized groups selling these mass quantities of stolen goods to local, regional, or transnational organizations who are helping to feed that system. 522, President Trump says Ukrainian President Zelensky should not target Moscow Moscow. He was speaking to reporters yesterday. He says Russia just needs to come to the negotiating table.
Well, at the end of 50 days, if we don't have a deal, it's going to be too bad.
It all comes after multiple reports say the president had spoke with Zelensky on July 4th and asked if Ukraine could strike the Russian capital. Earlier yesterday, the White House says the president was merely asking a question, not encouraging further killing. This was all comments he made as he was headed to Pittsburgh yesterday.
Russia, he shouldn't target Moscow.
The president also says the U.S. has struck a new trade deal.
So we made a deal with Indonesia. I spoke to their really great president, very popular, very strong, smart.
He says the U.S. will pay 0 tariffs while Indonesia will pay 19%.
They are going to pay 19%, and we are going to pay nothing.
And the president was in Pittsburgh yesterday for an artificial intelligence conference. He spoke at the inaugural Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit yesterday.
This is a really triumphant day for the people of the Commonwealth and for the United States of America.
The event brought together some of the top leaders, investors in energy and AI. The president announcing $90 billion worth of private investments in AI and energy just in Pennsylvania alone.
We're back in Pittsburgh to announce the largest package of investments in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and it's not even close. I don't imagine it's too close. 20 leading technology and energy companies are announcing more than $92 billion of investments in Pennsylvania.
523, while we're talking about the president, he says he has no plans yet to meet with Pope Leo. He told reporters that he'd like to soon. He actually met Leo's brother.
And he is MAGA. He's got MAGA signs all over the house. He likes Trump and I like him.
And so that's why the president says he thinks he'll like Pope Leo, too.
I really like his brother. His brother is a major, serious Trumper. You know that. He's MAGA all the way.
All right, 524. Let's go out to Colorado, where a jury is going to hear opening statements in the trial of a Colorado dentist accused of poisoning and killing his wife. Legal analyst Chris Decker explains what to expect as attorneys begin their presentations in the trial of James Craig.
We're going to look for the defense to be arguing that this was a biased investigation. It is a circumstantial case with no direct evidence.
Craig, arrested in 2023 after his wife became ill, died. Investigators claim the doctor killed his wife by poisoning protein shakes with a deadly mixture of cyanide and a chemical that's found in eye drops. So the dentist now facing murder, other charges connected to her death.
I'm going to be pointing out to the fact that when they tested the protein shake containers, they did not have the presence of poison. They were going to have to distance themselves from the jailhouse informant.
This one of these trials that's going to have a lot of eyes on it from across the country. The trial expected to last about 3 weeks. A suspect behind bars on suspicion of leaving what was first believed to be a human skin teddy bear outside of a convenience store in California.
Hector Corona Villanueva was arrested on Monday, one day after the discovery was made. Villanueva is accused of causing a report of emergency while knowing it to be false and intentionally and wrongfully planting evidence to falsely present as real. The gruesome-looking teddy bear was actually made out of latex and is a prop created by a horror special effects artist. The San Bernardino County Coroner's Office confirms it did not contain any kind of human skin or other remains. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Yikes. All right, 525. While we're in California, local leaders there have growing concerns about public health as trash continues to pile up across the state. Garbage collectors with Republic Services, they walked off the job, standing in solidarity with some striking workers here on the East Coast.
Most of it's recycling, but it's definitely piling up in the last weeks.
Unfortunately, I had to pack all the trash into my car and take it to the station.
This is the same thing that happened in Philly last week. It was disgusting there. I can tell you firsthand. I was there. Many cities opening places where people can take their household waste to throw it away. They've ended the strike in Philadelphia, so the trash there is being picked up. 526. Cleveland Browns running back draft prospect, Quinshon Judkins, facing a battery charge now, accused of hitting his ex-girlfriend. Fort Lauderdale police releasing her call called to report the incident.
I had a high-profile male that I was in a relationship with put his hands on me.
The incident allegedly happened July 8th. Judkins was arrested July 12th. The ex-girlfriend of the Browns running back draft prospect told an officer she's still hurting from what took place.
I didn't go to the hospital for medical treatment, but I will say that I am still in pain, and I still have visible bruises and evidence on my body of the event.
No real comment yet from the Cleveland Browns.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 16th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunny, hot, and humid today. The high is 89, but with that humidity, it's going to feel a whole lot warmer out there. Tonight and overnight, scattered thunderstorms, low 77. And then Thursday, morning clouds, afternoon sun, and the high's going to be 95. So we're in for some hot weather the next 48 hours. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, I should point out. 76 and clear in Yonkers up in Westchester County. 77 and clear in Passaic over in New Jersey. And it's 76, a little bit of fog right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 538. Democratic candidate for mayor Zohran Mamdani scoring another endorsement yesterday. This one from the largest union for city workers, that's D37.
To go through months of contract negotiations. What use is it to go through months of contract negotiations to win those hard-earned raises, only for you to go back to your rent-stabilized apartment and face an even bigger increase in your rent?
That's Mamdani, who's saying he's going to hold the line on those rent-stabilized apartments. Affordability, of course, the centerpiece of Mamdani's campaign. He's already been endorsed by the city's teachers union, the Hotel Trades Council, the New York State Nurses Association, and SEIU 32BJ, and the New York City Central Labor Council. So he continues to collect them. Yesterday, the President Trump, was talking about the race for mayor, and this time he suggested that Andrew Cuomo stay in the race. He thinks it's a good thing.
I think Andrew would have a good shot of winning. He's got to run a tough campaign. What's your preference? He's running against the communists. I would think that he would have a good shot of winning.
Mamdani yesterday sat down for a meeting with the city's top business leaders, and I should point out a fair amount of those top business leaders boycotted this meeting. They decided to skip the sit down. I'm trying to say. Mamdani schmoozed with roughly 100 CEOs as part of this partnership for New York City. Apparently, this was at his request. He asked for this meeting. It lasted about 90 minutes. Some were asking him questions about his socialism and what that means for the business community. Others asking about some of his anti-Israel comments. One person who left the meeting who spoke with the New York Post says he talks so much, but he says so little. But here was Mamdani after the meeting yesterday saying he's willing to talk to anybody.
At the core of my politics is not just a sincerity, but also a desire for partnership.
And the Democrat,
it will take all of us.
Okay, and yesterday the Democratic nominee trying to distance himself from that phrase apparently he's used, globalize the intifada.
It first became an issue during the Democratic primary. Mamdani, a Muslim who's a critic of Israel's war in Gaza, was asked about the phrase on a podcast and refused to condemn it. Tuesday, meeting with the Partnership for New York, that's a consortium of city business leaders, Mamdani said he would not use the term and would, quote, discourage others from doing so. The phrase globalize the intifada is seen by some as a call to violence against Jews. Palestinians and their supporters call it a rallying cry for liberation. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
Now, part of the strategy for Andrew Cuomo this time around, where he failed in the primary, is to be out there giving interviews, talking to the voters. He said that's what he'll do. So he gave one yesterday to New York One, where he says, yeah, I ran a bad campaign during the primary, and it'll be different in the general election.
As in the campaign, all the geniuses said I was way ahead for the entire campaign.
So the campaign played it safe. And there wasn't an aggressive campaign. Mm-hmm. And that was a mistake. And playing it safe was a mistake. And again, uncharacteristic.
He says he does worry for real for New York City if Mamdani wins in November.
I think the assemblyman would do damage to New York. Not just that I don't agree. I believe it would actually damage New York. And I've been having this battle with the socialists for years. This is not new.
Once again, Mayor Adams getting some bad news on two fronts yesterday in his bid to win another 4 years at City Hall. This from the city's campaign finance board. The campaign finance board rejecting the mayor's request multiple times for campaign matching funds. Adams' campaign must now submit additional documentation by August. The board, which controls millions of dollars in public matching funds to dispersed campaigns, rejected giving cash to Adams yet again. Apparently a rebuke done multiple times in the past year following Adams' indictment on federal bribery charges. So yesterday, now he'll have to submit more paperwork if he wants to get those matching funds, which are all important. And then there's a new poll out from Harris X that finds the mayoral race shaping up to be a tight and competitive one. Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani is statistically tied in this poll with Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. While Mamdani leads Mayor Adams in a head-to-head race, the poll shows Cuomo defeating Mamdani by 15 points in a one-on-one contest. This was a survey of 585 registered New York City voters. It was conducted online between July 7th and 8th. In a four-way race, Mamdani's at 26%, Cuomo 23%, Sliwa at 22%, Adams in last place at 13%. WABC News Time 5:44. A search underway this morning for an attacker after a 16-year-old girl stabbed to death inside a Bronx bodega yesterday after some sort of dispute. Officers responding to this bodega on Boston Road about 4 p.m. They found a 16-year-old girl, Aaliyah Williams, multiple stab wounds throughout her head, body inside that location. She was taken to Jacoby Hospital in critical condition where she was later pronounced dead.
I never saw anything like that happen here. I've been here for almost 2 years. And 2 years that I live here, I never saw that happen.
It's scary, man, because there's kids down the block. There's kids at the school down the block. So, scary because there's a lot of kids going back and forth here.
Now, here's what police were telling us earlier this morning, that Aaliyah got into some sort of fight with another teenage girl inside this bodega, and she threw water on that wanted attacker. The woman or teenager then fought back with a knife, stabbing Aaliyah to death. Here's Aaliyah's grandmother.
May her soul rest in peace, and I never expect this to really happen to her because she's not a bad kid. She's a people's person, and she always in our hearts. May her soul rest in peace.
All right, so far no arrests have been made. Police say that investigation ongoing. 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Allen.
Thank you, Noam Layden. We'll start here in Atlanta. The 2025 MLB All-Star Game didn't lack any excitement. The National League roughed up the American League from the jump. The Mets, Pete Alonso launched a towering shot in the sixth to spark a 4-run inning. Then Arizona's Kelvin Carroll followed with a massive solo blast, put the NL up 6-0 by mid-game. But the AL wasn't out of the fight just yet in the seventh. The A's' Brent Rooker crushed a 3-run homer, igniting a rally that saw Kansas City's Bobby Witt Jr. drive in another run, and Minnesota's Byron Buxton later key a multi-run top of the ninth. Cleveland's Stephen Kwan laced an infield single that plated the tying run, making it 6-6, the largest comeback in All-Star Game history. Because the game remained tied, MLB debuted the first ever All-Star swing-off. Each side selected 3 sluggers with 3 swings apiece. The NL picked Stowers, who hit 1 home run, Kyle Schwarber, and Pete Alonso, who sat. The AL picked Rooker, who hit 2 home runs, Rosarena, who hit 1 home run, and Aranda, who hit 0 home runs. But Schwarber for the National League, he won a perfect 3-for-3 that vaulted the NL over the top.
Do they get to pick which batters bat? Or?
Yeah, so the AL
so it's
and
like
the NL.
Soccer, like when you're doing penalty
right,
kicks.
it's like penalty kicks. You pick 3 guys, each guy gets 3 swings, and you try and hit.
And who's throwing the pitch?
I guess they just had some BP some assistant manager out there or something, some bench coach out there. One of the bench coaches for each team that is probably best at throwing BP. I don't know. Exactly. For sure. Of course, I was dead asleep by the time this was going on.
Me too.
But, three pitches, I guess, each, or three swings each. And you try and hit as many home runs in those three as you can. And Schwarber went a perfect 3 for 3. That gets him the MVP honors, and it gives the NL the 7-6 victory. It's 2 straight wins there for the NL. And I should say, in the All-Star game, a brief ABS, automated ball strike system trial, was implemented for the game, allowing pitchers, catchers, and hitters to make real-time call challenges on the strike zone. And to the NFL here, some more offseason news for the Jets. Another day, another major contract extension for New York. 24 hours after reaching a long-term contract extension with wide receiver Garrett Wilson, the Jets rewarded star cornerback Sauce Gardner with a record-setting contract, a 4-year, $120.4 million contract. The two-time All-Pro becomes the NFL's highest-paid cornerback based on average salary per year. That's $30.1 million for Sauce Gardner. That is your Sports Gnome, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 549. Let's go up to the Bronx, where a 27-year-old taxi driver was shot during a dispute over a $40 fare. Alyssine Berry got into a fight with a 76-year-old passenger. This was on West 169th Street about 4:30 in the afternoon Monday. So Berry got out of the taxi to go, meet up with this passenger who was getting out of his car after he did not pay. And when Berry got out of that cab, this individual, the 76-year-old, his name is Joseph Meeks, he shot him. And thankfully he's still alive.
The 76-year-old that was in his car tried 4 different credit cards and none of them worked. So Mr. Berry asked him to get out of the car and pay him. He got out of the car and instead of paying him, shot him in the stomach.
That's Fernando Mateo with the United Federation of Taxi Drivers. That cabbie was taken to Lincoln Hospital, where thankfully he's in stable condition. He had surgery yesterday. Mateo visited him in his hospital room.
We visited Mr. Berry earlier today, about an hour ago. And the first thing he said was, please don't let me die.
Neighbors who know Joseph Meeks, the alleged gunman, say they were kind of shocked because he calmly walked into the building like nothing happened. He was later arrested on a charge of attempted murder. Meeks has 60 prior arrests. 60. A 76-year-old guy, 60 prior arrests, a history of drug and assault.
We're asking District Attorney of the Bronx to please make sure that this man, who's 76 years old, is not released back in the streets. If he shot a guy for $40 that was defenseless, what's he going to do if they let him out without posting bail?
Yeah, and we'll point out again that apparently he has this long rap sheet, 60 prior arrests. 552. Talking about outrage, there is outrage over news that a man who pled guilty to recording patients and staffers in a Long Island hospital bathrooms will only get 5 years probation, no prison time.
Over 300 plus videos we have, and you treat that with probation? I think it's wrong.
That's the Nassau County DA, Ann Donnelly. She'd asked for jail time for Sanjay Sirmurprasad, but the judge said that he was remorseful during a court appearance. So apparently, just to give you the full story, he had set up this camera inside this sleep center bathroom, may have taped more than 200 people, including kids and adults.
What he did, the number of people he exposed, over 300 plus videos we have, and you treat that with probation, I think it's wrong, and that's why I was recommending upstate jail time.
Now, he was a former sleep technician at Northwell Health who admitted secretly recording hundreds of people using toilets at their sleep center in Manhasset between July 2023 and 2024. They can't even identify all the victims because there's so many of them. But here's one of the victims who says she thinks about this every single day.
I'm really disappointed. I expected him to have some sort of jail time because, there needs to be some sort of accountability.
And there is a lawyer who's representing these victims in what I imagine will eventually be some sort of lawsuit.
Sometimes you don't see a face. Assistant DAs have told us victims can send in pictures. If they have pictures of themselves, particularly at the sleep center, what they were wearing, then they can try to match him up.
Yeah, but in the end, this guy just getting probation. 5:53, NYPD says police officers have made at least 200 arrests regarding subway surfing just this year. It comes after the latest incidents with AM New York reporting that 4 teenagers were arrested for subway surfing on a northbound 6 train in the Bronx last week. Maybe you saw a video of this. We'll post it at WABCRadio.com. It's intense. These 4 teenagers riding on top of the train, jumping up and down.
It's not safe at all, and hopefully these kids learn a little better. Hopefully the parents can help out too. That's all you can ask.
You're just gonna get hurt, and then that's what makes it longer, the trains and everything. If we're doing that, now this is the reason why I'm late for work.
The NYPD transit drone team spotted these teenagers, and so they were able to radio ahead at the next stop, which was the Parkchester station, and they brought in 2 12-year-old boys, a 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old into custody. Essentially, they have probably saved their lives. All 4 of them have been charged with reckless endangerment. WABC News Time 5:55. A new study may explain why there have been an increased number of shark sightings along the East Coast this summer.
The research out of New York's Stony Brook University tracked 155 sharks and their movements, the suggestion being that rising sea temperatures are causing some species to linger on the East Coast about a month longer than usual. This includes sandbar, sand tiger, and white sharks who migrate each year from Canada and the Northeast down to the Carolinas and Florida in early fall. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
Yeah, there's been sightings, of course, in the Rockaways. That was over the July 4th holiday. And then at Jones Beach, that young woman was bitten by what they think was a sand shark on the leg and the ankle. 5:55, an 86-year-old woman taking to the sky over the past weekend on Long Island to go skydiving for the more than 800th time. Kim Kaur is traveling all across the country with one goal in mind. She wants to make more than 1,000 jumps in her lifetime.
There's an award you get for 1,000 jumps from the United States Parachute Association, and it's gold wings.
Yes, so she just loves the feeling of jumping out of an airplane, still feels that way at 86 years old. Here she describes the euphoria she feels after jumping out of an airplane.
You're not thinking about the, bills back home or, things having to go to work or do this or that. And you're not thinking about the future because you have to live in the moment to participate and to fly like a bird.
Yeah, so her skydiving career, it actually began when she was 20 years old, when she forged her parents' signature to take her first tandem skydive. After that, she became a member of the U.S. women's parachute team, and after a decade-long break to raise a family, she's back at it again, and she says she has her family members jumping out of airplanes with her.
Both of my daughters and all of my grandchildren have been jumping with me.
Yeah, okay, if all goes according to plan, Nora expects to take her 1,000th jump sometime early next year.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?